So we communicate at different levels. You can communicate to yourself. I don't know if you're aware about that. That is intrapersonal. That is communicating to yourself. Yeah. It's always very important to communicate to yourself. How do you communicate to yourself? Let me pause there and ask a question. Communicating to yourself is very, very, very important. It allows you to reflect and then adjust your ways. Reflection is very, very important. For example, when you're at work, you do a lot of things. For example, you're interacting with patients, you're interacting with friends, maybe along the way, you may not have communicated in the appropriate way. So you reflect about the situation that you might have gone through and then see, you evaluate the whole situation and then advise yourself internally, like what you have just said. Speak to yourself and change. Okay. So if you move along the streets and see someone's walking while they are speaking, um, they are actually doing what we call intrapersonal communication. They're speaking themselves. And then we have interpersonal communication. This is when you communicate to your colleagues, your friends, okay, or group communication. Mass communication is when you now use the multimedia, mass media that we talked about, the radio, television, print media, and social media, things like that. And then we have organizations, for example, WHO. WHO does inter-country communication. When WHO or UN is communicating, they're not only communicating to a specific country, they are communicating to a number of countries. Okay, so that means that you should be very competent at communication at different levels. You should be very competent communication at